When America's Gerald R. Ford faces China's Fujian in the Taiwan Strait, will it be a clash of equals or the end of an illusion? The waters of the Taiwan Strait shimmer in the morning sun. To most, they look calm, almost ordinary. But beneath the waves and above the horizon lies the stage for a potential clash that could redefine the balance of power in Asia. On one side, cutting through the strait with all the symbolism Beijing can muster, sails the Fujian, China's newest and most ambitious aircraft carrier. On the other side, waiting just beyond the first island chain, the silhouettes of American giants, the USS Nimitz, the USS Gerald R. Ford, and their carrier strike groups bristling with fighter jets, submarines, and destroyers. And so, the question emerges, if Taiwan truly becomes the flashpoint of the 21st century, who will rule the seas, China with its rising might, or America with its unmatched naval heritage? The Fujian is more than just steel and engines. It is China's declaration that it has entered the club of true blue water navies. At 316 meters long, displacing over 80,000 tons, and equipped with electromagnetic catapults, it is a massive leap forward from the Liaoning and Shandong, China's earlier carriers. One a hand-me-down from the Soviet Union, the other a cautious first step into indigenous design. For Beijing, the Fujian is proof. China can now build carriers that look and feel like those of the United States. But looking the part and playing the role are two very different things. And here is where the controversy begins. Because across from the Fujian stands the Ford class, the pinnacle of American naval engineering. Nuclear-powered, with a displacement of over 100,000 tons, the Gerald R. Ford is essentially a floating city, capable of sustaining operations for decades without refueling. Its MO's catapult system launches the F-35C Lightning II, the F-A-18 Super Hornet, and the E-2D Hawkeye into the skies with relentless tempo. Each carrier is the heart of a carrier strike group, surrounded by Ticonderoga cruisers, Arleigh Burke destroyers, Virginia-class submarines, and logistical vessels. Together, they form not a ship, but a moving fortress, a fortress that can strike anywhere on the planet. Here lies the dilemma. China's Fujian is new, impressive, and undeniably a step forward. But can a single ship or even a trio, once Liaoning and Shandong join, truly match the American Leviathan, supported by 7 decades of operational experience? Consider the air wings. The United States deploys F-A-18 Super Hornets and, more significantly, the F-35C stealth fighters capable of striking without being seen, linked into a global network of WECA satellites and data links. China, for now, relies on the J-15, an aircraft derived from the Russian Su-33. It is capable, but heavier, less stealthy, and more maintenance-intensive. Beijing promises the J-35, its own stealth carrier fighter, but that remains a work in progress. So the question lingers, can the Fujian project strength with a less-than-proven air wing? Then comes the matter of geography. Over the waters near Taiwan, the Fujian isn't alone. It is shielded by ground-based radars, HQ-9 surface-to-air missile batteries, and the feared DF-21D and DF-26 carrier-killer missiles. In theory, this layered defense could keep American carriers at bay. On paper, it looks formidable. But war is not fought on paper. Can the Fujian survive the chaos of electronic warfare, the split-second strikes of American submarines, and the constant surveillance of P-8 Poseidons and MQ-9 Reapers? And what happens when the battlefield shifts? Let's imagine 2 scenarios. First, the home game near Taiwan, within China's defensive umbrella. Here, the Fujian enjoys proximity to bases, land-based air support, and missile cover. American carriers must stretch their logistics, protect vulnerable refueling aircraft, and contend with dense radar coverage. Could the J-15s, guided by Chinese AWACS and backed by DF-21Ds, level the playing field against the Raptors of the sea? Could the Fujian force America to think twice, not by superior technology, but by exploiting geography and mass firepower? Now imagine the away game, the Pacific Ocean near Guam, or even the approaches to Japan. Suddenly, the balance shifts. Here, the Ford class operates at full strength, supported by U.S. bases, tankers, and satellites. The F-35C can coordinate seamlessly with ground-based F-22s, with submarines lurking nearby, with destroyers launching SM-6 interceptors. The Fujian, far from home, stretched on logistics, would find itself exposed. Its lack of combat experience and limited air wing will be glaring weaknesses. In such a battle, would the Fujian even survive long enough to launch its second wave? This is where the debate becomes sharp. Supporters of China argue that the sheer pace of Beijing's naval buildup is unstoppable, that quantity has a quality of its own, and that soon Fujian will be joined by nuclear-powered carriers with J-35 stealth fighters on their decks. They claim the U.S. cannot indefinitely maintain its lid. But skeptics counter with one point: experience. The U.S. Navy has operated carriers in real combat for generations: Vietnam, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, Iraq. It has honed doctrines, tested logistics, refined training, and built a system around the carrier strike group. China, by contrast, has never fought a modern naval war. Its carriers have never faced a peer opponent. Can a fleet built in a decade replicate the lessons earned over 70 years? And here's where the controversy sharpens further. The use itself is facing questions. The Ford class, while advanced, has faced cost overruns, delays, and technical hiccups with its catapults and arresting gear. Critics in Washington whisper, are America's carriers becoming too expensive, too vulnerable in an age of hypersonic missiles? Could the very symbol of use dominance turn into a liability if adversaries find a way to target them effectively? So who holds the advantage? In raw capability, the U.S. still reigns supreme. The Ford and Nimitz-class carriers bring overwhelming firepower, unmatched air wings, and a global support system. Against them, the Fujian is still a newcomer, untested, and relying on aircraft that lag behind in stealth and systems. In an away game, America dominates. But in the home game, where geography, missiles, and defensive layers stack the odds, the Fujian might just hold its ground long enough to complicate America's calculus. And sometimes, making your enemy hesitate is victory enough. Which brings us back to Taiwan. The island itself doesn't decide who wins. Instead, it acts as the stage where each side seeks to prove something larger. For the U.S., that it still commands the seas. For China, that it can no longer be contained near its shores. And for the rest of the world, the looming clash is less about two carriers than about the future of power in Asia. So I'll leave you with the question: are China's carriers true rivals, or are they still shadows playing catch-up to America's giants? And when the day comes that the Fujian and the Ford stare at each other across the Taiwan Strait, will we witness a true contest of equals or the unveiling of an illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the dragon has caught the eagle, or does the raptor of the seas still reign supreme? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the weapons and strategies shaping our future.